Hi everyone, welcome to yet another live video by Nzumari Africa. We are so glad to be here. We had a break for a few weeks, but now we are back with our Facebook Live. Today we are focusing on mental health at the workplace. So feel free to engage with us, feel free to post, feel free to share the live video. Looking forward to a very interactive session with you guys. So before I begin, my name is Grace Kasiva. I am a psychologist by profession. We are Nzumari Africa, an organization that is youth focused. Our main aim is to improve the livelihood of the young people, especially their mental health wellness. So that is basically who we are. We are located at Huruma. We have a youth gathering space there where the young people just come and engage and grow. So before we start, I'd like us to fill out this form. It's a pre-survey. A pre-survey of the session. We get your details of participation and any more relevant information that we may need so that we may improve and enhance our interactions online via social media. So feel free to fill the form. I have posted the link. I am posting the link. So today we will focus on working with someone who has been troubling you, and that is mostly having a toxic coworker, having a toxic boss, and most importantly also recognizing you as that toxic boss or you as that toxic coworker. But before we start, we have a mental health policy in this country. It's a 2015 to 2030 mental health policy that was designed to ensure that the mental health structure of the country is taken care of. I think for a while the mental health aspect of the country, Kenya, has not really been a point or a major point of discussion, and so the government came up with a mental health policy, the Ministry of Health. So in the policy there are specific actions that have been included to take care of people mental health at the workplace. The three main action plans in the mental health policy in regards to the workplaces to assist workers to improve or how to handle their stressful work situations or their stressful life situations. The other one is to create strategies to end the stigma around employees who have mental health issues or bosses who have mental health issues. The other one is management of alcohol and substance abuse and prevention among the workers. So it is good to note that as a country, in the mental health policy, there is an action plan for the for the workers of this nation, so that our workplaces can be, close to safe havens. Yeah. So there was a study that was done in the recent past years, na ilikuwa inasema that 36% of work related issues, um, work related illnesses is due to stress and burnout. And 13% of employees, they feel like they are being overworked. Is a study that was done here in the country. So we can see about mental health and handling stress at the workplace. It is something that needs to be talked about. It's something that inafaa kuwa inaongelelewa, inafaa kuwa yani there should be a focus on it. But now we can begin with some facts. Number one, a workplace and a job can be toxic regardless of how much you earn. I think that is one fact that we should keep in mind. Haijalishi how much you earn, you can still earn a lot of money but still be in a very toxic environment, toxic workplace environment. You can be working in a low income generating workplace and have a lot of peace, or also be in a toxic environment. So it does not matter where you are, it does not matter how much you earn, you can still find toxic regardless of the environment. Another fact is that it has become a culture that the more you work, the more you are rewarded with more work. I do not know if any of you may experience that. If there's anyone who is watching, I don't know if there's anyone who has experienced that. Actually, the more you work, the more you are rewarded with more work. So I guess it's because, and ideally, I think that it's not, uh, how do we put it? It's expected, because if you're working hard and you're delivering and your results are good enough, thank you for those who are joining, then it means this boss or this coworker will want to add more work to you. And so thank you for those who are joining in. I would like us to type in and give and tell me, do you love what you do, or are you doing what you love? Yeah. Do you love what you do, or are you doing what you love? I've posted the question. You can feel free to answer it and to tell me. For me, I can say that I love what I'm doing, and I'm doing what I love. I think it goes both ways. Yeah, so as we continue, so in the workplaces, there are different types of people. Thank you for those who are joining. There are different types of co-workers that you meet. Remember, our topic of the day is working with you is troubling me. So before we get into that, for those who are joining, please answer. You can fill the form for participation. I have posted it. I can repost it again. I have posted it again. You can come and fill the form for participation. So, and you can answer the question, do you love what you do or are you doing what you love? So, um, there are types of co-workers in our workplaces. Number one, there's the hero. Kuna ule mtu who takes care of everyone else. This person hataenda vacation. This person atakuwa na work overtime. This person atakuwa na overwork na anafanyia kila mtu kila kitu. Anaitwa the hero. So I think one of the ways for this person to survive in the workplace is to learn to say no and stop taking overtime tasks and delegate tasks where you need help. And there's the caretaker. This one feels responsible for everyone's problem. And they keep making excuses for everyone, such that in case niseme nitachelewa, this caretaker will come in. Hata mimi si lazima niseme or I report to my boss. This caretaker will come in and do it for me, whether or not I even ask. This is the person who is the shoulder to cry on, to lean on in the workplace. And so for this person, their tip will be to set boundaries on people's personal lives and to stop covering up for people. And then there's the rebel. The rebel does not conform to anyone, and they are very dismissed. They can be very dismissive. So for the rebel, it's the kind of person who, when anything is mentioned, maybe in a meeting, in a staff meeting, they'll be like, they'll be quick to give an opposing comment, quick to challenge the boss or to show people that you people don't know anything. So the way for this person to cope or to minimize is to control themselves and to think before they speak. And anytime they have something they need to communicate, they have someone, wakuwe na mtu wa kucheck, wa counter check their emails, wa counter check their tools of communication. And then there's the martyr. This one will give their all, and then they'll be expecting a reward afterwards. And hardly they don't speak of their achievement. So for them, for the martyrs, their tip is to reduce the favors and to ask for what they want. Na wakifika nyumbani wanazima simu. And then there's the entertainer. There is the entertainer in the workplace. Entertainer, thank you, Quittin. I can see you. Welcome. So I asked the question, do you love what you do or are you doing what you love in relation to your workplace? Unafanya what you do ama you do what you love? Myself, I am doing both. I am doing what I love and I'm loving what I'm doing. So Quittin, you can respond to that in the comments. It can be so helpful. Also, I don't know if you guys have seen the Google form that I've posted. I hope the link is working. Please, please fill in the form for participation. It will be very good for me to know, or for us to know your comments, your feedback, and so it's a way of us to interact with you more. Thank you. Thank you, Perry Swanjiro. I can see for you it's both. You love what you do and you are doing what you love. Thank you so much for that response. Evelyn Koroy, I can see you. You're heartbroken. Maybe we can talk more about that as we continue. And so I was given examples of the types of co-workers we have in the workplace. And I was in the entertainer. So the entertainer is always humorous. The entertainer always making jokes. And most of the time they are not even taken seriously. And so one of the tips for the entertainer will be to refrain from making jokes frequently. And especially in a meeting, just refrain from making the jokes as much as possible. The jokes are not a bad thing, but if you can refrain, the better. Also, instead of making a joke while you're asking for something, just ask for it directly. Do not make a joke about it. Just ask for it directly as an entertainer. And then there's the peacemaker. Thank you, Evelyn. I can see your response that you love what you do. Thank you. So there's the peacemaker. The peacemaker, they do everything it takes to make peace in their workplace. Everything. They can go an extra mile to ensure there is peace in their workplace. So, and they can feel responsible if there's a conflict. And the conflict is not even about them really, but wanna feel wako responsible sana. And so for this one, the best thing is every time you feel there's a conflict and you have the urge to deal with it, kindly avoid mediating. Avoid mediating the conflict as much as possible. And then there is now the last one. There is the invisible person. This one is always below the radar. Huyu mtu, they are forgotten. Thank you, Ilana Bian. You're in love with whatever you do. Thank you for the response. I don't know if you guys have seen the form that I have posted for participation. It's a pre-survey. Please kindly fill in the form for me. It will be so helpful for me to get more feedback from you, for me to be able to reach you after the session. So kindly fill in the form. So I was talking about the invisible one. This one is below the radar. They're always forgotten. They actually don't even sometimes attend meetings. And so a tip for this one is to attend all meetings. And in the meetings, speak. If, actually, if someone is asked who can pray for us, be that person. If someone is asked any other business, be quick to give whatever kind of business it is. Just be quick to give it, because it will at least ensure that you're not forgotten. And also when promotions come, you're not easily forgotten by your boss, because they can be wondering, okay, haya, kumbe you work here, kumbe you still work here, and yet you'll be coming in the office every day. You're actually early than everybody else, but unasahaulika because you're too quiet, you're too avoidant, you're close to invisible in the workplace. So today we are talking about working with someone who is troubling you. And I do not know if any one of us is free to share the experiences. Sijui kama kuna mtu ako na hiyo courage leo ya kutuambia or their experience about having a toxic coworker, having a toxic boss. I think I can share mine with you. So there's this time I was working with somebody, and it was really interesting at first because you know, they are your friends. You become, when you get into a new job, you really want to just be a friend to somebody. You want to be there with them, as in usikae ni kama wewe si mtu wa watu. And so you can be very friendly, and that's a good thing. You want to be a team player, you want to be engaging, and that's okay. So this particular person, talking about my experience, would become my friend at first. And then maybe because of my work ethic, or maybe because I was having goals and I met them, and so you probably gain some favors from your boss. Thank you King K, I can see you. Oh yeah. Nakuana. So tulikuwa tunajibu, if you are in love with what you do, or you are doing what you love. For Paris, it was both. For me, also both. For Evelyn, she loves what she does. For Ella, she's in love with whatever she does. So for you, King, maybe you can reply. Do you love what you do, or are you doing what you love? So back to my experience. So as I was saying, you're working, and now this coworker of yours, they became friendly to me. and ikafika mahali, of course, I was now quote unquote being a boss favorite. So inafika mahali now, all of a sudden you can see ama gradually wakaanza ku withdraw from me, and then when given a chance to maybe comment, maybe in a meeting, and I say something, they would also maybe perhaps say the same thing, and then kidogo kidogo you find wanavaa vile navaa, wanakula kenye nakula. So it becomes a competition that I am not even aware of. And I don't know, it just now becomes a very confusing place to be in, because now you do not know what to do next. I mean, we've come to work to work, we go home. So hii competition is a nyuma nyuma kidogo. Thank you, Manu. You're saying that you love whatever you do and the boss is friendly, and that makes your work easy. That's loving whatever I do. Thank you so much for that response. There's someone who's saying that their boss is very friendly. Thank you so much for the response. And so that has been my experience with a coworker that was a bit troubling. And I don't know what your experience was. I'd love to know. So feel free to share it. Maybe not in too much detail, but you can just share your experience. But then, even for those who have had positive experiences, please do. But this time round, we are focusing mostly on working with someone who is troubling you. Kinke is saying content creation is what I love, so I am doing what I love. I think it's both. Thank you, Kinke. So how do you know? I have a question I want to post in the comment section. How do you know you are working with a toxic person? I want us to feel free to answer that question. So how do you know that you're working with a toxic person? And by the way, it will be so good for us to also admit that we could also be the toxic ones. In as much as how sometimes we love to look as though we are the victims, I think sometimes it can be also healthy for you to get to admit to yourself that I am also a toxic person at the workplace. So yeah, I hope you get to that point. But now I'd love us to answer this question. How do you know that you are working with a toxic person? Because remember, our topic is working with you is troubling me. So how do you identify this? For me, I've given you my life, my experience, and feel free to share yours. So as I wait for your responses, I think there is one indicator of someone who is a bit toxic or troubling at the workplace. Number one, there is this person who will constantly ask or make unrealistic demands of your time and attention. It's constant. Nifanyie hii, maybe assuming, and it could also be outside the workplace, by the way, but they are demanding for your time, they are demanding for your attention. It is so unrealistic and it is so frequent. Kila time. Thank you, Manu. You're saying that he talks maliciously about me or someone who is not present. Thank you. I love that. So I will come back to that. So I was saying this person is constantly asking for unrealistic demands of your time and attention. That is one indicator that you're working with someone who is a bit toxic. Another one, as Manu has said, this person maliciously talks about you. But this is how it starts sometimes. They will begin as your friend and they will befriend you. And then, kidogo kidogo, they begin to undermine you. And the undermining comes in when they now begin to spread rumors, like Manu is saying, talking maliciously about you. They begin to spread rumors, yeah, and something that is such a lie, but they are spreading the rumor. That is how you can tell that you're working with someone who is a bit toxic. Kenke is saying that uh, when all they think about is themselves and they do not consider others around them. Yes, there are people in the workplace who ni wao na ni wao tu. They don't consider, they are not team players. They don't want to really get involved with what is happening with everyone else. Maybe even when there is team building, they don't even want to come in and do anything. If there is contribution, yes, there is this thing that I've had going around, and maybe for people who have seen it also, you can comment. Maybe in your workplace, there are systems that are put in place. So every workplace is a bit unique. There are those who, there are organizations who celebrates one birthday, everyone's birthday. So the cake is brought in, wanakata, wanakula wote pamoja, and everyone lazima afanyiwe. And so you find now in or maybe yes, in scenarios like a colleague has lost a loved one. Now the office has to chip in and give something. There are workplaces that do that, and that's a good thing. But now you find this particular person who is toxic will not want to contribute, and they will expect that when tragedy comes, or when it's their turn, they expect you to do that for them, whether or not, which in most cases not, they've not done it for others, but they expect. And that is what Kinke is I think is saying, when all they think about is themselves and they do not consider others around them. I think that can be an example. So also there are those who talk shouting, frightening people. They frighten. They just talk loudly, ile loud, yani hata akiongea you can actually unashtuka kidogo and you don't understand why. They keep shouting. Maybe they have their stresses, and that's something to talk about. But every single time their interaction is just ya kushout. Thank you for those who are joining. I am saying people are joining in, and there is a form that I have posted. I hope it is seen. It can be seen by everyone in the comment section. Please fill in the form for participation. I would love to hear from you and to get feedback. So we were trying to know, how do you know that you're working with a toxic person? Because the topic of today is working with you is troubling me. So maybe it cannot be easy for you to recognize this toxic person, but I think it can be easy for you to now recognize these symptoms you get after working with a toxic person. This is what I mean. How do you know? Utajua aje that una work na a toxic person, but not on their perspective, now from how you're experiencing your own body and emotions. Number one, every time maybe your boss calls, boss yako akipiga, before uchukue hiyo simu unaanza kutetemeka. There is that. Every time your boss calls, or maybe a colleague, okay, mostly someone who is superior, unaanza kutetemeka, my god, anataka nini sasa. You're always anxious to even pick that call. It could be an indicator that the environment and your relationship with your boss in the workplace has not been so good. It has been a bit toxic. Another indicator ni ukiona a colleague maybe kwa wale mko na kitchen, unajua kuna wale wako na kitchen kwa ofisi. If you see a colleague, you want to avoid them. You constantly want to avoid them. Constantly. That is also another indicator that you are exposed to a toxic person, a toxic working environment. I do not know if you guys have any other things to post or to share. Also, for those who are dealing with clients in the workplaces, every time this client calls ni migraine, kichwa inaanza kuuma hata before uongee na yeye, because there are people who experience that. For those who work with clients, ukiona tu namba yake ndio hiyo inapiga, migraine inaanza. Unaanza kupata migraine, unaumwa na kichwa, you're trying to formulate, you're trying to think too hard on sasa nitamwambia nini, sasa anataka nini. So it's because because of the exposure before, because of the history you've had with this person before. So I don't know if any of you has a personal experience you'd love to share. Feel free to comment it in the comment box. I'll be seeing it and I'll comment about it, and we are going to discuss about it. So as we continue, there are physical indicators of working in a toxic workplace environment or with someone. There's the inability to concentrate, inability to concentrate, you're having headaches, you're having backaches, you're having migraines, insomnia, unashindwa kulala, appetite inaisha. The emotional part of it is that you're feeling so inadequate. You're feeling like you're so inadequate. And yet, honestly, if a third eye comes in and looks at the value you're putting into your work, it is not in comparison to how you feel. Yes, your job is perfect, but when I feel you are inadequate. And then there is feeling overwhelmed kila time too. It's Monday and you're like, oh my god, it's Monday. Oh my god, it's Monday. And not because you're hungover, not because you are so tired from the weekend, not because you wish the weekend haingeisha, but because whatever you're going to meet in that office will be, oh my god, yes, feeling overwhelming, frustrated with your job every time. There is this particular person I recently met, and they would they would mess up all their relationships because of job. This is what I mean. Akimit na rafiki, how are you? My job. Yani ana complain tu kuhusu job. Akimit na boyfriend, girlfriend, job tu inamsumbua. And it's all about job. There's nothing else you talk about. That is an indicator that you've been in a toxic place. You've been working with someone who's toxic. So how do we now? I think I can post the question. How do we deal with toxic co-workers? Feel free to answer the question. How do we deal, or also how have you dealt with toxic co-workers or toxic bosses or toxic workplaces before? If you've ever experienced, how have you dealt with it? Because many people will prefer to leave the workplace, but leaving might sometimes not be an option because you have a family, you have bills to pay. Sasa utatoka uende wapi, and yet you need the money. So for most of us it cannot be an option. So if it's not an option, so how do we deal? How have you dealt with the toxic coworker? How have you dealt with the toxic boss? How have you dealt with the toxic working environment? I would really love to hear your feedback. So feel free to comment. I'll see it. I'll bring it out, and we'll be sharing. Um, Angel June, thank you so much for joining us earlier before, and for the response you made, that you are doing what you love. I like that you are doing what you love. Thank you so much for that response. Your name is interesting, Babe Rasta. Angel June Babe Rasta. I love that. Never met that name before. So how have you dealt with your the toxic environment and toxic co-workers? I think we can begin from here. The most important thing. Thank you so much. Even before I comment, there is someone who's called Manu Mkare. You have ignored one of your co-workers and assumed whatever he said about you, because I could not leave work because I had bills to settle back at home. Yes, as I said, most of us do not have the luxury to leave the job, because honestly, if you have to leave it, then you should be having you should be having where you're going, not leaving and just remaining. Although I can clearly state that there are some people who have left the toxic working environment because it was too toxic. If you could do a cost benefit analysis, that is a pros and cons list, yeah, what yani, the pros of being in this job and the cons of being in this job, the cons will is it outweigh the pros, and the better option will be to leave, because as I said, it could get to a point where you're physically hurt, where you are now ill kusabu you're stressed, you're burnt out, you've begun to become anxious, to a point where you are at risk of depression. And so sometimes the best option will just to leave. For some people, they have left, and we cannot really like point fingers and say, ungetoka, ungekaa tu. But if you could actually analyze and do a pro con list, the cons would outweigh the pros, and it would have been better to just leave. For some people, that is what they did, and that is okay, because your health is more important. I mean, your health is your wealth. But what if you're not able to leave, or what if the situation is not as extreme? And so how do you deal? Number one, Manu has said that he ignored. There are those who just ignored and assume, because at the end of the day, this is work. You come, you do what you need to do, and then you leave. So you can just come and do your work and just leave, and that's okay. And of course, when you're required to be a team player, you'll be a team player. But there are those who ignored. Before we go to the other point, Angel June is saying they always overreact on small issues. Mostly they fail to control their moods, hence mixing work with their negative personal issues. I think she is answering the question of how do you know you're working with a toxic person. She is saying that this person will overreact on small issues, and they are unable to control their moods, hence they are mixing their work with negative personal issues. Yeah, there is there are those kind of people. They overreact over small issues, something that is a non-issue. I can see King K is saying, for me, I once sat my supervisor and two other colleagues of mine and had a real talk with them. They created that environment too toxic, and I don't just keep and watch someone look down on me. Oh wow, I can congratulate you, Kinky, for that. That is effective communication in the workplace, and I think it is one thing that should really be embraced by everyone, the supervisors and the colleagues. For him, he says he actually sat them down and told them, no, we are not doing this. And he could said he cannot keep quiet and watch and look some and watch someone look down on them. That is so good. Yeah, there is the part of communicating that whatever you guys are doing is unfair, and let us, instead of doing, what else can we do? I can see Evelyn Correa saying dealing with toxic coworkers is by doing the right thing at the right time and following the company rules and ignore the rest. I love that. And it's part of what I said about, you know, uh, this is work. You do the right thing. Come to work early, attain your goals for the day or the week. If you can overachieve, but not to a point of burnout or overworking. And then yeah, you follow the rules and the company rules, and then you ignore the rest. I think for most of us just want to ignore it, and that's okay. So thank you so much for your responses. I think the one thing to deal with it is to first detect your own body response, because you cannot deal with something that you don't know or you're not aware of. So detect your body response. Are you seeing signs of stress? Unaanza kuona ni kama uko stressed. Headaches, backaches, migraines, haulali, you're moody all the time, you're angry, you're just stressed. It's good for you to first detect. And also now, coming to the ignoring, you can mentally detach from this person. Mentally detaching from them is knowing that you cannot change the person. You cannot change them. If they are toxic, you cannot really change them. So you mentally detach from them. Marian Jerry, thank you for joining us. You're saying that where you used to work before, we always had a WhatsApp side group for the non-toxic people just to vent. That is interesting. People actually have formed people have formed groups for WhatsApp for those who are not toxic to go and vent on the toxic ones. That is how Marion Jerry coped and dealt with the situation in where she worked before. So there is that detecting of your body for the signs of stress, and then there is the mentally detaching from them. That is acknowledging that you cannot change them or the situation really, especially if you've tried it before and it has not worked. I think you can begin to mentally detach from them. And then another way is to realize that this person's behavior, it's not about you. Always remind yourself that as they spread rumors about you, as they do whatever they are doing to you, it's not about you, it's about them. And it does not quantify the quality of your work. Ni wao, it's them who are toxic, not you. So always remind yourself that this is not about me, it's about them. My work is good enough, and that's okay, And I think from there you can begin now to just continue working and being productive. Angel John Baybrasta is saying avoid necessary arguments and being apologetic to secure your job. That is how she knows that she can deal with the situation. Avoid saying sorry, 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 and avoid unnecessary arguments. Just talk of what is necessary. Yeah. For people like Marian Jerry who formed a WhatsApp side group to vent, you can always find someone to vent with, someone that you trust, and it can also be someone who is outside the work environment, just a friend that is not a coworker. That can really go a long way. So I think we can quickly jump into bosses who are toxic, because remember, we're not really talking about coworkers only, talking about bosses. So quickly we can get into bosses. And I have a question. Does Has any of you ever dealt with a toxic boss? Myself, I have. I have, and it hey, I think the most important element about that boss was that they were so manipulative, very manipulative, to a point where it would really, I felt burnt out. 3 days into the job, I already felt burnt out. 3 days. And it was so overwhelming, and I could not understand. So, has any of you ever dealt with a toxic boss? A toxic boss, I can describe them in a few minutes. It's someone who always puts you down, whether or not you've done something good. They always put you down. Another indicator of a boss who is a bit toxic is the one who is always absent. And now we are doing work from home for most of us because of COVID. But even away from home, they hardly ever just schedule a meeting with their colleagues or with their workers, with their employees, because it is necessary for an employee to get to know feedback from their boss. But this boss is never ever, never ever present. Never, never. Always absent. I'm not talking about the frequent. I'm just saying this one is absolutely never present. That could be an indicator of a boss who can be a bit toxic, because if they're absent and you're not able to know how to do things, and then you do it the wrong way, and then one time they just come and lash at you, and then you'll be asking yourself, where were you when I needed you? you know and then there's this boss who will never appreciate you for anything. Never appreciate. You do something, they don't appreciate, even a simple thank you, at the end of the week, or just giving you a reward. Hakuna hiyo point of appreciation in the workplace, and you can feel as though, I mean, so what's the point of working if I'm not being appreciated? Because a simple thank you goes a long way. Just saying thank you, thank you. Yes, they're not required to keep telling you that all the time, but just a simple thank you. And then there are this kind of bosses who do not take credit. No, sorry, they take credit for everything. Everything that was done by someone, and it's not even them who have done it, but it's someone else. They will take credit for it. Which I think the most ideal inaweza kuwa appreciating the effort of that person. If it's an employee who has done something great, you can mention it in a meeting and say, so and so helped us gain this client we've been chasing for the past 6 months. This is what they did, 1 2 3. But the boss will prefer saying I. Yes, it is your company, but it is also good for you to at least give credit where it's due, because it goes a long way in motivating your employees to know that if I do this, I'll be appreciated. And it's not supposed to be, it does not have to be monetary value. Simple affirmations, positive affirmations go a long way. So for us who are bosses, for us who are supervisors, It is important for us to keep reminding the workers now, keep reminding them of the policy of the workplace, their job description. Say it all the time. Also remember that your employees are not mind readers, and for the employees, remember your co-workers are not mind readers. Communicate. Sema kile unataka kufanyiwa. Sema kile haiendi vizuri. Talk it out. Like someone said up here, I think it was Kinke. Alisema yeye, he sat down his supervisor and his colleagues and told them, this is what you're doing is wrong. You can communicate. People are not mind readers. And then for those who are supervisors and managers, be willing to guide. Be willing to guide. Be willing to show. Even co-workers, be willing to show people. Yes, ni wewe umesoma zaidi ya wengine kwa ofisi, lakini haimaanishi huwezi kaa chini uonyeshe huyu mtu, this is how it is done. Next time, try this strategy. Also, as co-workers and as managers, remember we are all different. Different personalities means different behaviors, means different responses, means different mode of work productivity. So we are not the same. People will not act like you do all the time. People will not behave like you do all the time. Always remember that. Appreciate people verbally. Say good morning in the morning. Say good morning. Waambie watu bye. At least be a team player. Be present. Let people get to know that they are there. And so, and always remember that part of learning, part of making mistakes is learning. You are there to learn. You are there to learn. So I will be waiting for any question. I think we are in the question or comment section. If you have any question, feel free to post it. And as you do, feel free to post the question about working with toxic coworkers, toxic bosses, or anything else that is unrelated. Remember, as we at Nzumari Africa, we are here to take care of your mental health, and so we also offer free psychological counseling services. You can reach out to us if you need any services for mental health. We'll be there for you. We'll be there to work with you. We are open. It's free. Reach out. Usinyamaze peke yako. I am waiting for questions. I am waiting for comments. Please share them with me. I'll be able to see them. I'll be able to answer them as we get ready to end this live video today. I really enjoyed it so far. There was a lot of interaction. I want to thank you. I think I'm going to mention everyone by name who I have seen them commenting. Thank you, Quitting. Once again, you are one of my consistent viewers. I want to say thank you. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Ilana Bayan. Ilana. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Thank you, Kinke. Thank you, Manunkare. Thank you, who else? Yes, Angel June. Angel June, you've been so active. And thank you, Marion Jeru. Manu is saying, it was such a nice segment. You've learned a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manu. You can feel free to share it with your friends. I will finish the video and it can be shareable. So thank you. Thank you so much, Nelson. Of course, I've mentioned you. Thank you, Nelson, for joining. One of my constant viewers on the Facebook lives that we hold every Tuesday. So thank you so much, Nelson, for being part of this. Remember to fill the pre-survey form so that I can be able to engage with you more. I can be able to know what you require from us as an organization. Thank you for the people who are liking and reaction, your love hearts and the care. Thank you so much. There have been no more questions. Remember, guys, that we offer free psychological counseling. Remember, you're not alone. Remember to be kind to yourself. Remember, it is okay not to be okay. Remember that your mental health matters. Yeah, so I think I will end it there. I will be posting a post survey. So after this, I'll be posting a survey. You can go in and just fill it now after the session. You can go in and fill it so that now we can know how to reach you and engage you the more. I think for those who have filled, they know what I'm trying to mean. And so I look forward to seeing you next week. Please look out for our Facebook, our social media platforms. We will be having a discussion about this, I think, tomorrow. We will be having it tomorrow. It will be a very nice topic. Look out for our posters in our social media platforms on Instagram, on Twitter, on WhatsApp. Also, if you need it, just ask for the link. We'll be more than glad to share it with you. So thank you so much, guys. There have been no more question or comment. I want to end this live from here. It has been a pleasure. Thank you. Bye.